So for people just about to come in and watch Echo Valley tonight, what can they expect?
They can expect a very twisty thriller that's grounded in a very tumultuous relationship between a mother and a daughter, emotional and surprising.
And it was only after I watched it I realised, same writer as Mayor of Easttown. And I feel like there's probably some shared DNA in the fact that these are really sort of salt-of-the-earth characters. Yeah. But you don't like to sort of, show their hand straight away. Yeah. Like, we're kept guessing, all the way through the film. So what was your starting point specifically for this story? But why are you also perhaps interested in writing characters in that way?
Yeah, I think for this story, it's the starting point was my aunt owns Echo Valley. It's a real farm in Westchester, Pennsylvania. So while the story isn't really hers, I always was attracted to the idea of trying to set a thriller on a farm. And then in terms of, in terms of the mystery elements and the kind of parsing out of information, I always like to blend in character drama with a thriller. So embracing the genre while also trying to subvert it. Just looking for ways to keep an audience guessing and surprising them along the way, really.
And Michael Pearce, I was totally obsessed with Beast a few years back. Yeah. And it kind of maybe, darts around some of those similar issues in terms of moral ambiguity, kind of how the people closest to us can both be our best protectors and the ones that love us the most, but also hurt us the most. Why was he the perfect director to take on your story?
Well, I think Michael's visual style is so unique. And I also think as a storyteller, we share a lot of similarities in trying to tell really grounded stories that also embrace genre elements, And so I think as soon as I met Michael, I felt like he'd be the perfect storyteller and director for the piece. And I think he's done a fantastic job. He knows exactly what the movie's supposed to be. And I think he's made a really incredible thriller here.
And where to start with this cast? I mean, Julianne Moore, one of my lifelong heroines. Sydney Sweeney at the height of her kind of, probably the most bankable actress that we have working today. And Domhnall Gleeson, much more sinister than I've ever seen him. What was it like having these people bring your characters to life?
Yeah, I mean, Julianne's been an all-time favorite of mine for so many years, ever since Shortcuts and Boogie Nights. And she's just incredible in everything she does. She's just such a professional. And Sydney, I think, is incredible in the movie as well. I think she goes from being this sweet kid to this kind of incredibly vicious kid, and I think it's a really heartbreaking portrait of an addict in the throes of addiction. She's so talented, and Domhnall's amazing too. I think he's such a menacing presence. You kind of love to hate him in this, and it's just look, it's such a gift to write something and then get to work with actors of that caliber. I'm always incredibly grateful to see them. When every time I watch this movie, I'm just so grateful we got them to do it.
And also kind of getting these sort of like very Hollywood names to go to some really sort of gritty, dark places.
Yes.
Is that almost part of the joy, even for the audience as well? Like, we're very far away from something very glossy and like overly produced.
So, look, I think actors are love to challenge themselves, and they like to go to those extremes. And certainly with Sydney's character, she goes to incredible extremes in the movie. But I think for Julianne, it was something that, she is such a range of emotions. It's grief, it's hope, it's sadness, it's betrayal. And my experience with actors is they like to challenge themselves. They like to, play with the dimensions of a character and the complexity of a character. And I think when you're able to give the material that allows them to experience a wide range of emotions like this movie does, they're game for it. Especially Julianne, who's always done that over the course of her career, I feel.
And it really kind of maybe subverts also our expectations, not just female characters, but a mother-daughter relationship, which I kind of love. Because even for myself, as like a woman, I was like, I just wasn't expected to go there. Or like maybe I have my own ideals. So is that also something fun to play with audience expectations?
I think so. I think as a writer, you're always, it's a balance of trying to embrace the genre in a way, but also looking for opportunities to subvert it while also remaining true to the characters and the world of the story. So it's a balancing act, but I think it is always a challenge to go, okay, what's a twist we haven't seen, or what's a twist that the audiences are so smart these days. So how do you outsmart them in a way that's satisfying and still feels earned, and it helps to have such amazing actors in these roles, which helps sell those, I would say, those surprises in a really meaningful way.
And just very quickly, what do you hope people come out the cinema feeling tonight, being in the grips of this thriller, just going along for the ride, have some questions about how far we might go for the ones we love?
I think you nailed it. I think going along for a ride that's surprising and leaving the theater asking, oh my God, what would I do if I found myself in that situation,
Amazing. Thanks for your time. Really enjoyed tonight. Thanks so much. Congrats on the movie.